The Man in the Closet, Los Angeles, California. Chapter 1. The New Beginning. Jessica Reed had lived in Los Angeles her entire life, but this was her first time truly on her own. At 29, freshly separated from her fiancé and armed with a new job as a graphic designer at a downtown agency, she wanted a fresh start. So she found a small one-bedroom apartment nestled in a quiet corner of Highland Park, the kind of place that had old bones but charm, hardwood floors, antique doorknobs, and a long hallway that connected the living room to the bedroom. The rent was suspiciously low. The landlord, a tired-looking man named Mr. Dobbins, had explained that the previous tenant had moved out suddenly, citing family issues. Jessica, needing a place fast, didn't question it. The apartment was mostly empty except for a few old pieces of furniture, a creaky wooden wardrobe in the bedroom, a coffee table with a crack down the middle, and a rust-colored armchair in the corner. She made a mental note to replace everything as soon as she had the money. That first night, after unpacking and setting up her laptop on a makeshift desk, Jessica fell into an exhausted sleep. Around 2:47 a.m., she woke up suddenly, not because of a sound, because of a feeling, like she was being watched. She sat up in bed and scanned the room. Silence. Then she saw the closet door, the antique wardrobe. It was slightly open. She was sure she had closed it before bed. Her heart thudded. Probably just the draft, she muttered, and got up to shut it tight. As she pressed the door closed, she thought she saw something, a flicker of movement inside. But when she opened it fully to check, nothing was there, just empty wooden space. Still, she didn't sleep well the rest of the night. Chapter 2. Scratches. The second night, Jessica heard scratching. It started just after midnight, coming from inside the closet. Long, slow, rhythmic scratches like someone dragging their nails down the wood from the inside. She sat frozen in bed, the sound louder in the silence. "Rats!" she said aloud, though it didn't convince her. She grabbed a flashlight from her nightstand and crept toward the wardrobe. With a trembling hand, she yanked it open. Empty. But the scratches continued, now from the walls of the closet. She slammed the door shut and dragged a chair in front of it. Sleep didn't come easily that night either. Chapter 3. The Tenant Before. On her fourth day in the apartment, Jessica decided to talk to her neighbor, an older woman named Maria, who lived across the hall. Maria was reluctant at first, her eyes darting toward Jessica's door. "You live in apartment 3C? "Yeah," Jessica replied. "Why?" Maria hesitated. Then she sighed. "The man before you, he said there was someone living in the closet. He was a quiet man, worked nights, came home and started hearing things, said someone was inside it, watching him." Jessica swallowed hard. "What happened to him?" "He started losing sleep. Said the man would only come out when he wasn't looking. He put locks on the closet, but that didn't help. One day he just left. Never even came back for his things." Jessica forced a laugh. "You're joking, right?" Maria just looked at her. "Lock the door, and don't let it stay open after midnight." Chapter 4. Shadows. Jessica tried to ignore the warnings. She even considered replacing the wardrobe altogether. But every time she thought about moving it, a strange nausea rose in her stomach, like the thing didn't want to be moved. That night, she watched a movie until late, determined not to let fear win. Around 1 a.m., she went to brush her teeth. When she came back, the closet was wide open, and inside, in the darkness, she saw eyes, not glowing, not red, just human eyes, staring back at her. She screamed and flipped on the light, but the eyes vanished. The closet was empty again. The next morning, she nailed the door shut. Chapter 5. The Return. 3 days passed without incident. Then the scratching returned. Only now it wasn't just from inside the closet. It was from behind the walls. Jessica followed the sound, tapping on the drywall. Her fingers froze when she knocked on a part that sounded hollow behind the closet. She did some research and found out the building had been converted from a boarding house built in the 1920s. There were rumors that some rooms had been sealed off during a fire in the 60s. She called the landlord. Mr. Dobbins didn't answer. The next night, the nails she'd hammered into the closet door were pushed out from the inside. Chapter 6. The Photos. Jessica, desperate for answers, reviewed photos she had taken of the apartment before moving in. In a picture of the bedroom, there, barely visible in the mirror across from the closet, was a figure, tall, pale, gaunt face, eyes black and wide. She zoomed in, the image distorted, but the figure, it was standing just beside the closet door. The closet had been open. She hadn't noticed it then. Tears welled in her eyes. She deleted the photo, but the image lingered in her mind. Chapter 7. The Ritual. At her wits' end, Jessica contacted a local paranormal group. Only one person replied, an older man named Elias who claimed to be sensitive to threshold entities. He arrived the next day, looked around the apartment and paused in front of the closet. "This is bad," he muttered. "He's not a ghost. He's a watcher." Jessica stared. What's a watcher? They're ancient. They exist in liminal spaces, doorways, closets, mirrors. They don't haunt. They observe. And sometimes they step out. Elias set up candles and placed iron nails around the closet. He began chanting in a strange language. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the closet door shook violently. The candles went out. And in the mirror behind Elias, Jessica saw the man. His mouth opened wide, far too wide. Elias collapsed. Blood trickled from his nose. The room went cold. Chapter 8. The Truth in the Walls. Elias survived, but refused to return. Jessica, now certain she couldn't stay, decided to tear open the wall behind the closet. Armed with a crowbar, she pried away the old wooden panels. Behind them was a narrow crawl space. Inside she found a small mattress, empty food cans, scraps of paper with strange drawings, and a name carved into the wood, Caleb Manners. A police search revealed that Caleb Manners had been a missing person from 1982, a drifter, mentally ill, believed to have squatted in abandoned homes, but he had never been found. Now Jessica suspected the truth. He had never left. He had hidden in the crawl spaces, lived in them, watched people through cracks, through the closet, until one day he wasn't human anymore. Chapter 9. The Final Night. Jessica made plans to move out, but the night before she was set to leave, she made a mistake. She forgot to lock the closet. At 3:12 a.m., she woke to the sound of breathing. She turned on her bedside lamp and saw him. The man. Not fully human anymore, his limbs too long, his eyes black and glistening. Smiling, he whispered, "I've been watching you sleep." She screamed and bolted from the room. The man didn't chase her. He didn't need to. The next morning, the apartment was empty. Jessica was found 3 streets away, curled in a fetal position, muttering, "He's still in there, watching." Epilogue. Apartment 3, C. 3 months later, the apartment was cleaned, painted, and relisted. Another young woman moved in. On her first night, she noticed the antique wardrobe in the bedroom. She decided to keep it. It was charming. That night, she dreamed of a man with black eyes standing in the corner, smiling, watching,